Daniel Harrison had never imagined the galaxy could feel this vast. As the Celestial Accord drifted toward Neutral Station 7, the ring-shaped colossus shimmered against a field of unfamiliar stars, glowing like a halo carved into the void. Daniel adjusted his gray diplomatic uniform, plain, unadorned. The small Earth patch on his shoulder almost embarrassing beside the ornate attire of the other Alliance delegates. He was the newcomer here, Earth's junior observer. The quiet one they brought along for appearances. Ambassador Vexala glided onto the deck with her iridescent skin casting dancing colors across the metallscape. "Remember your role, Human Harrison," she said, her 4 eyes blinking in an irritated cascade. "You are here to observe, nothing more." "I understand," Daniel replied. But the truth was nothing about this mission felt simple. 6 months ago, he'd been negotiating trade routes between Earth and Mars. Now he was representing humanity at the edge of known space, watching over talks that could determine war or peace. When the station's docking clamps locked with a soft tremor, Daniel joined the procession of delegates. Creatures of all shapes and anatomies filed through the airlock. Towering crystalline beings, amphibians with shimmering gills, species Daniel didn't even have names for. He kept to the rear as instructed, unnoticed and unimportant. But all attention shifted when the Exoraxian flagship arrived. The vessel was enormous, dark, bone-plated, and alive. It glided forward like a predatory sea creature, its uneven carapace rippling with dim bioluminescent veins. Even among the Alliance veterans, Daniel sensed unease. Exoraxians were a war-worn species, conquerors of 12 systems in a decade. When their delegation entered the grand reception hall, the temperature seemed to drop. Tall insectoid beings moved in perfect military synchronization, their exoskeletons reflecting the harsh white light. Their leader, Commander Skull, scanned the room with multifaceted eyes that took in everything. For a brief moment, those eyes lingered on Daniel, longer than on anyone else. Daniel forced himself not to react. The first day of negotiations was a disaster. Vexala presented the Alliance's proposal with elegant precision: shared access to contested territories, withdrawal from occupied colonies, guarantees of peace. But Skull dismissed the terms outright. His demands were impossible. Total retreat, territorial surrender, tribute payments. These weren't offers, they were challenges. During recess, Daniel quietly approached Vexala. "Their demands follow a pattern," he said. "Some ancient warrior cultures on Earth began negotiations with extravagant claims as a test of strength. We do not require human analogies," she cut in sharply. "Remain silent." He returned to his seat, stung but obedient. That evening, seeking a moment of solitude, Daniel entered the station's arboretum. Bioluminescent plants cast pools of color across the quiet sanctuary. He thought he was alone until he saw the smaller pale-shelled Exorian standing near a glowing pond. It inclined its head. "Human of the blue water world," it said through its translator. "You observe much." Daniel introduced himself, and the Exorxian replied, "I am Shrevik, third-rank communicator." Their conversation was brief, cautious, but being seen speaking with an Exorexian was enough to draw the attention of another hidden observer who slipped away to report. The next morning, Exorian eyes followed Daniel into the chamber. After a tense exchange, Skull demanded Daniel's official introduction, something Vexala had desperately tried to avoid. The spotlight on him intensified throughout the day. During the break, a Calderian delegate approached with a warning. "The Exoraxians have requested all available records on human warfare." Daniel's blood ran cold. Why? That evening he got his answer. Skull invited him to a cultural exchange. A thinly veiled command: refusing would insult the Exoraxians, accepting would break protocol. In front of a silent hall full of watching delegates, Daniel agreed. The Exorexian sector felt like stepping into a different world. Dark red lighting, metallic scents, walls adorned with trophies from conquered systems. Daniel expected a diplomatic meal. Instead, he found himself interrogated for hours about Earth's wars, tactics, weapons, and the darkest chapters of human history. When he described World War II, the Exoraxians fell silent. When he explained nuclear weapons, their mandibles clicked in disturbed disbelief. "You deployed such devastation upon your own kind," Skull said quietly, "and survived it." Daniel emphasized that humanity had chosen peace, had built treaties, safeguards, restraints, but the Exorexians seemed less frightened by Earth's violence than by humanity's ability to endure and evolve after it. When he returned to the Alliance wing near midnight, Vexala confronted him. The Alliance had intercepted partial recordings. Daniel was confined to quarters, interrogated by intelligence officer Nerva, and warned that the Exorexians were transmitting files, human files, back to their empire. The next day, the negotiations halted until Daniel was brought to the floor. Skull openly challenged him to explain proportional response, a trap designed to force Daniel into speaking. Cornered, he answered with calm honesty, restraint, discipline, limited force, the moral necessity of avoiding annihilation. Skull looked shaken. Soon after, Exoratian ships repositioned outside the station. A ritual summons arrived. Commander Skull invoked the ancient rite of Cuthful and demanded Daniel's participation. Refusal would mean war. Against the Alliance's objections, Daniel accepted. The trial of Varity was not combat. It was worse. 2 metallic circlets were placed upon Daniel and Skull, linking their minds to a pooling crystal that would reveal only what each believed to be true. For an hour, they were questioned about war, mercy, survival, sacrifice. Skull admitted the Empire would destroy humans if necessary. Daniel admitted humanity had built world-ending weapons, had used them, had regretted them, had learned from them. Each answer illuminated the chamber with shifting light as the crystal evaluated their conviction. The final questions struck at the core of the human heart. If you had to choose between saving yourself or saving an enemy who might one day threaten your people, what would you do? Daniel answered without hesitation. I would save the enemy because the alternative leads only to endless slaughter. The crystal blazed green. That night, the Exorexian fleet grew. Alarms spread. Everyone expected violence. Instead, when the full assembly convened, Skull rose and declared the unthinkable. The Exorxian Empire announces our unconditional surrender to human Daniel Harrison of Earth. Chaos erupted. Daniel stood frozen. Vexala shouted that he had no authority. Skull dismissed her. Our surrender is to Earth, he insisted, not to the Alliance. Daniel finally mustered a whisper. Why me? Skull looked at him with something like awe and fear. We misjudged your kind, he said. We believed all advanced species avoided total war, but humans embraced it, suffered it, survived it. You forged apocalyptic weapons and chose restraint. Your violence is matched only by your capacity for mercy. A species that can kill itself by the millions and still remain whole cannot be intimidated. You would fight without limit and forgive without reason. This duality makes you the most dangerous life form we have ever encountered. Silence filled the hall. Skull bowed slightly. We surrender in the hope that the mercy you showed in the trial was true. Daniel had come to the station as a quiet observer, unnoticed, unimportant. Yet somehow without intention or authority, simply by being human, he had ended a war. Please subscribe my YouTube channel.